Imagine you're a struggling waitress, barely making ends meet. A billionaire walks in, flashes a smug smile, and drops an impossible challenge on your table: solve this one problem, and I'll give you $190 million. You think it's a cruel joke, but then, something extraordinary happens that changes everything. Sarah lived a life measured in tips and caffeine. She was 24, bright-eyed, and juggling 2 jobs just to keep her little sister in college and their leaky apartment roof over their heads. Her parents had passed years ago, leaving Sarah as the reluctant matriarch of a tiny, resilient family of 2. She worked the graveyard shift at the Sunrise Diner, a place where the coffee was strong, the lighting was weak, and the patrons were a mix of truckers and night owls. She was exhausted, yes, but her spirit wasn't broken. It was just bending. The night Hamza al-Maktoum walked in, the air in the diner seemed to change. The Saudi billionaire, famous for his opaque investment strategies and immense wealth, didn't exactly blend in with the worn vinyl booths and linoleum floors. He was impeccably dressed in a tailored suit, his watch a flash of brilliance, and his gaze sharp, appraising the room with a kind of detached amusement. He sat at the corner booth, the one where the jukebox was loudest, a place reserved for those who didn't mind the noise. Sarah approached his table, notepad ready, her practiced smile firmly in place. "What can I get for you tonight, sir?" she asked, her voice steady despite the flutter in her stomach. He ordered a black coffee, no sugar, and then just watched her. Not in a creepy way, but a calculating one, like he was solving a complex equation in his head. After a few minutes of this unnerving silence, he finally spoke. "You seem tired, young lady," he said, his voice a smooth baritone with a slight accent. Sarah just nodded, used to this kind of small talk. "Life's a marathon, not a sprint," she replied with a sigh. Hamza chuckled, then pulled a silver pen and a small, leather-bound notebook from his inner pocket. He scribbled something down and slid the notebook across the table. "I have a problem I need solved. A simple one, for a clever mind. Solve it, and I'll give you $190 million. Sarah stared at the notebook, then at him, utterly dumbfounded. "Is this a joke?" she asked, a nervous laugh escaping her lips. "I'm just a waitress, sir." "The problem isn't about finances or engineering," he said, his expression serious now. "It's about human connection. My corporation, al-Maktoum Global, has a massive issue with employee morale. People are disconnected, unhappy, and it's costing us billions in productivity. I've hired consultants, psychologists, you name it. Nothing works. The problem: how do you genuinely make 1,000 cynical, overworked employees feel seen and valued in a way that's sustainable, authentic, and scalable? I need a single, brilliant idea. Solve that, and the money is yours." Sarah scoffed, shaking her head. "I think you have the wrong person." He simply smiled, placed his card next to the notebook, and stood up. "The offer stands. Think about it. You have until the end of my coffee tomorrow night." And just like that, he was gone, leaving Sarah with a head full of numbers and an impossible question. She crumpled his card and threw it in the trash, focusing on her next table, but the question lingered like a ghost in the back of her mind. The next day was a blur of shifts and worry. Sarah's sister, Emily, called, worried about tuition fees. The apartment landlord taped an eviction notice to their door. The weight of her world felt crushing. She reached into the trash, retrieved the crumpled card, and looked at the billionaire's challenge. It was insane, a rich man's game. But what did she have to lose? She went home, pulled out a tattered journal, and started writing. She didn't think like a CEO or a consultant. She thought like a human being who felt invisible every single day. The problem wasn't a business one, it was a human one. She thought about the things that made her feel seen: a genuine thank you, someone asking about Emily's studies, the one regular customer who remembered her name was Sarah, not Waitress. The answer wasn't a fancy program or a new app. It was simple, deeply human, and almost ridiculously analog. The next night, Hamza was back in the corner booth. Sarah, with shaky hands, placed her solution on the table, a single sheet of paper with a simple idea. He picked it up, his gaze intense as he read her words. The idea was brilliant in its simplicity. Instead of top-down directives, it proposed a massive, company-wide internal gratitude exchange system. Every employee would receive 5 physical, beautifully designed thank you cards each week with a small space for a personal, handwritten note. They were encouraged to give these cards to any colleague who made their day better, no matter how small the act. A central, anonymous digital board would then display the snippets of these notes. Thanks for covering my shift, you saved my life, great idea in the meeting, really inspiring, your smile made my day. It fostered a culture of peer-to-peer appreciation, making every single person, from the cleaning staff to the VPs, feel seen and valued not by some distant executive, but by their own people. Hamza looked up, his eyes wide with surprise. A slow smile spread across his face. This is brilliant. So simple, so human. It's scalable, authentic. It just might work. He pulled out his phone and made a call. The story culminates a week later. Sarah is sitting in her apartment, the eviction notice still on the door, when her phone rings. It's a number she doesn't recognize. Miss Sarah, Hamza's voice fills the room. The program launched today. The response is overwhelming. We've already seen a measurable increase in engagement and a wave of positive feedback that's astonishing. You solved my problem. A lump formed in her throat. The $190 million will be wired to your account by the end of the day. But I also have another offer for you. My company needs people who think like you do. We need a director of corporate culture. The salary is substantial, the hours are humane, and your first task is to make this gratitude exchange even better. Sarah couldn't speak, tears streaming down her face. She had gone from worrying about tips to running the culture of a multi-billion-dollar company. Message: life has a funny way of working out. Sometimes the biggest solutions to the world's most complex problems don't come from boardrooms or elite universities. They come from the people on the front lines, the ones who understand what it means to be invisible. The story of Sarah reminds us that every single person has value, has unique insight, and that genuine human connection is the only currency that truly matters. Don't ever let anyone tell you your experience doesn't count. You might just have the $190 million idea sitting in your heart, waiting to be discovered. Be kind, be present, and always make people feel seen. It's the most powerful thing you can do.